Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Profit Roadmap. I'm your host, Becca, and this is the premier podcast created for field service pros to help you grow your business, stay on top of the latest trends, and help you provide even more value to the communities you serve. And today we are excited to welcome Chris St. Jean, the COO and co-founder of Servicely. Today we're talking about all things SEO. Welcome to the Profit Roadmap, Chris. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So Chris, just to get started, tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you get started where you are today? All that good stuff.
Okay, well, I'm going to date myself a little bit here and go back a little bit. So I was around for the kind of beginning as Google sort of hit mass adoption and consumers. That was what we all started using. And I was working as a writer and I got a job as an agency and I was helping them produce some content for their e-com customers. And we started using a tool where at the end of the content, I would take the highest intent terms, put them in a field, kind of mark them up with some technical language, publish it, and I would come back the next day and there would be my work for all those terms I had asked Google to show up for. And it was just fascinating to me how much I could just influence a search result just like that. So it really kind of got me obsessed with just that relationship between how a search engine connects a consumer and a business and really all the sort of makeup of that. I left that agency and was very fortunate enough to work for an e-com company, a small private one, that really gave me the flexibility to have a lab, basically. So we had lots of products. I had all sorts of different strategies for our sites going. I was basically stress testing Google's algorithm, seeing how far I could push it, what really worked, what they would say worked versus what actually worked. Started using some more automation. So it was like a one-man band there. I really got my hands dirty, kind of seeing, how it worked. I took that knowledge and went to work for an agency, help them build out the digital department, add on, new tools, new sort of options for their customers. I've been there for a bunch of years, and then we basically made this tool, made Servicely, which is the product I've been working on recently. And, the reality is, I'm sure as you know, the contractor space is very diverse. And there are, at the top of that level, if you are a top contractor in your market, agencies are beating down your door to talk to you and help you with marketing. There's no shortage of options once you reach that space. But the reality is if you're a newer contractor or you are just getting started or just don't have that sort of locked up, you're just your digital presence, there isn't a lot of options for you. Like agencies, you don't have enough revenue maybe to entice them that much. There are tools that have been out like Wix and GoDaddy, site builders and things. But, I know that can lead to frustration with contractors. They're busy. They're running their business. So to ask them to be a designer and drag and drop and create, that's just a tall order here. So we took all that knowledge and basically took what we were doing at the agency as far as helping websites get made, a digital presence established for contractors, and really boil that down into this Servicely tool. So it's like a starter pack, a starter tool to really get contractors started in their space, establish their online presence. So that's kind of the journey. All that knowledge really to my mission is really helping SMBs. I mean, I really like helping small businesses compete and grow. That's where we are.
That's amazing. So for those of our listeners that are tuning in, so they're small business, mid-sized market. There's like certain within that range that you typically work with.
Yeah, I think that's it. Our ideal customer is just someone that is at the sort of lower end. So maybe they don't have a website at all or something that's really very dated and they just don't like. Or if they have a presence, like I've seen a lot of companies that Google may create an instance of a Google business profile for you, but it's not claimed, it's not optimized. So you're really leaving a lot of money on the table, so to speak, by not doing those things. So that's what that's what we're trying to help with, is get a website that's more, a little bit of a step up, that's vertically informed to what you're doing, and then help take that other side of it, the Google business profile, some of the local SEO elements that we know work, to really get you started. So get you on your journey, kind of help you growing. And then as you, the logic is as you kind of step up, our parent company, our agency can also help with their services. So this is just, making sure that we're looking out for that contractor that just needs the help and that, maybe didn't have a lot of tools or options available to them.
That's amazing. I'm really glad we're talking about this today because I work both on the Service Autopilot and FieldEdge side for our brands. And when I was a trainer, a lot of the businesses that I spoke to were those like, I'm just getting started. It's a one man
Right.
show, small team, and they didn't have a website, or maybe they had a Facebook page or some kind of social
Right.
media page, but just not realizing the power of having this information, a website, and these tools. So, like getting into that, can you kind of get into the importance of website? Let's talk about SEO, the importance of
Sure.
SEO.
Well, I mean, the good part about I think here when you're in a business, I don't think you need all this. Like you could run a business just from word of mouth and your reputation, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think as you start to get in, think about a competitive market, think about a vertical that's like we've been focusing at HVAC, extremely competitive. I mean, everybody is coming into the space. It's a great industry. So if you are functioning with just those, like you said, a Facebook page or just sort of the word of mouth, fine. But if you want to grow and be more competitive, it's like these are just tools. So the website is a tool. Your local SEO is a tool to help attract more customers and help substantiate your business. I mean, the way we look at it is, say you're a consumer. I mean, if you're just getting something repaired in any of these verticals, okay, maybe you're a little less critical of who that provider is. But if you're looking to
Yeah.
buy equipment, make an investment in something that's, for your home or something important like that, you're going to be discerning. You're going to go research multiple companies. And so when you are that consumer and looking at multiple companies, how do you judge that? I mean, the reviews, of course, the reputation, but when you go to their website, that's a representation of their brand. So when you get
Absolutely.
that instant, I mean, we're so quick, humans, we can like make a judgment on a business in milliseconds. Like, okay,
Yeah.
this is a trustworthy company. This is going to be an expensive company. We're really good about that. So again, look at that as a tool. Let's use your website, make it very easy for customers to build. They just actually answer some questions and then the site builds. So that's like the first representation. Then for SEO, I mean, the landscape's changing. I know we're going to get into lots of the nuance of how the industry and Google and search engines change. But the reality is, if you're a homeowner and
Mhm.
consumer, you're going to search engines to look for the services you need. And
Absolutely.
using those tools, local SEO helps match your business to their search. And that's all it is. It's just providing a bridge between your search and then, we're trying to give you the answer. And hopefully our client is the answer for that search.
Absolutely. Can you like explain the difference between, because we mentioned this a few times about local SEO. Can you explain the difference between local SEO and traditional SEO for service
Yeah.
businesses?
I mean, local SEO is the focus. I mean, that's what you should be focused on. I mean, the reality is it's imagine when you go to Google and you search for any term here, and essentially that page is divided up in sections. So you've got a couple sections at the top. You've got typically Google local services section. I mean, it depends on the vertical, but most verticals they're in now. Then you've got some paid ads, and then that section with the map where it's got multiple companies and their start. That's local SEO, and that's so important, especially for our service providers and anybody in that kind of industry, is because most consumers are on their phone. They're, when something breaks, they're looking for it, they're going there. So if you just think about the physical real estate in the results on your phone, it's not much, right? And if you're asking a homeowner to scroll past, Google keeps adding more paid ads. So you're asking them to
Yeah.
scroll past all of that. Then they're going to get to that map section, the local SEO. That's the best place you want to be in right now. So below that is traditional SEO. And that's more, think about that as just national results. So you could have essentially anybody from, any location show up in those results there.
Right.
But as Google has changed, I mean, just in the past couple of years, they are typically giving those top spots to the biggest brands. So like an HVAC, 1 Hour, and Gettle, these giant, multi-location brands, Google wants to serve up what the best options there. Just like if you go to a grocery store, they put the biggest brands at your eye length, so that's what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Same difference there. So those spots are hard to get. If you're like a smaller contractor in a big
Wow.
market, getting those top spots, you're in for I mean, not saying you can't ever get there, but if
Yeah.
someone's had a 20-year head start and 20,000 reviews and all these like links and things, like I would adjust your aim, adjust your target for that local SEO. I mean, because
Yeah.
that's how consumers are choosing, and it gives you a better chance of getting seen there. All those studies I'm sure you've seen where it's like they look at the graph of how many clicks go to that first listing, and in traditional SEO, that first click is getting like 40% or more. And
Right.
it goes rapidly down after that. So if you're not the big brand or the second big brand in your market, you're getting not much from that. So again, it's like a resource and time issue. Put your investment of like what you can do into a spot that you're going to get the best chance of actually being seen by homeowners. So yeah, that's the difference. It's just space basically on Google results.
That was also a perfect analogy because there are many moments I'm at the grocery store and you'll notice like the big brands are the most popular at the top, and at the all the way at the very bottom of the shelf are the, I guess, not as big, but they might be good, and it
Yeah.
might be nostalgic, or it might be something your family's used before. So uh, along those lines, then, like, could it could we say that local SEO in some ways is more important, or like you said, hone in on that if you're not big yet? Or can you tell us like how specifically can local SEO benefit companies compared to more of a broader sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think you just have to take an assessment of where you are as a brand and a company. I mean, that's really
Yeah.
what I look at it. Like,
Yeah.
if you're on the trajectory of you want to be that biggest brand, you want to be acquired by private equity, you want to be multi-location. I mean, then you want to think about both. You really do,
Okay.
because you want to start planting those seeds. I mean, local SEO is, again, to me, the most important. It is the most important just because it's the most visibility there and the higher up a little bit on the real estate. But if if your plans are to be the bigger one, you want to have, again, both. But if you're a smaller company and you've got your hands full with just running your business and hiring and all the regulations happening, it's like, again, how much time do you have in the day? How much effort can you really do? I would just, again, you want the best ROI for your efforts. And I think that is in the local SEO, especially for service-based businesses.
Excellent. And so if that's something, when customers come to you, come to Servicely, your clients, is that something like when you're breaking it down for them, understanding like what is local SEO, like helping them find their competitors in their region, or helping them boost all of that?
Yeah, I think in our case, it's more of just getting them started. I mean, it's really
Yeah,
like, it's more of a culture. I hate to say it, but it's like,
I like that.
really, if you're trying to make that in your company, because we can help, a company like mine, other agencies, we can help kind of like take you through and check the boxes for you and get you set up. But really, we're trying to help instill that, like, okay, here's what the landscape is. Here's what your competitors are. Let's get you started with, the things our tools can provide. And then you need to build the culture there. Because if we
Mm,
set you up, we can optimize your listings. We can optimize your site and your profile. But if you don't have a review gathering, like, culture established at your company, or you just, aren't really leaning into that, what's the point? Like, what is the point of what we're doing? You're just not going to be seen. So really, it takes that collaboration. So helping our customers just get started, all the technical things, get them, the best practices, so to speak, of search engines, and then, helping them and encourage them, basically, like, here's review gathering, here's the link to send here, make that a culture in your own agency, in your company. If you can keep growing your reviews and create, like, within your text or your interactions with your customers, that's what you're focused on, the growth and the leads that will come.
right.
So yeah, that's it. So it's like you need help typically with a tool like mine, or somebody in this space to kind of help with the technical side, and then
Yeah.
hopefully we can help coach you to say, like, okay, we can take you so far, but the ones that are winning, like, it's so interesting to me, I've been doing this for so long. Like, the table stakes have kept going up and up and up. Like, we used to celebrate when you'd get 100 reviews. It was like, wow, you're big. You're you've crossed 100, and then it was
Right.
1,000. I'm sorry, it's gone, like, the
It's
distance, the
ridiculous now.
delta. I mean, I wrote a couple down of just like the size here. So I'm in, again, I focus a lot on HVAC. We've
Right.
got a company. These aren't our clients. These are the big clients. We have one in Arizona, Parker and Sons. They're at 25,000 reviews. Four
Wow.
Seasons in Chicago, 24,000 reviews.
Wow.
So like if you're getting started, I
Impressive.
mean, I don't want to be too intimidating to say like the distance there, but it's like
Yeah,
those bigger companies have put a lot of effort into that
absolutely.
system. And the reality is, it's like, I hate to say this, but if I'm a smaller company and I want to grow, I want to look at what the biggest and best companies, what are they doing that's successful? What's
Right.
working for them? And when you see that, a company that has that many reviews and it's still in the 4.7, 4.8, like a high rating, that just didn't happen by accident. That happened by design. So,
Mm.
that's the other thing. It's like companies, like, you can't just wing it. It needs to be a process here. So that's what I would just say here. It's like, that's the start of local SEO, but the company side is like that review gathering is essential.
I love that. And that's a model that any company can easily or begin to try to build into the day-to-day culture of their business. It's pretty
Right.
important too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's tools. Listen, you know them. I mean, you can automate your review process. You close your ticket,
absolutely.
it sends the review. We've done that. That will produce some success more than just not asking. But
Absolutely.
it's a script. It's how you incentivize
Yes.
your text. It's how you reward and build that. And then the clients, we've helped, and just even at the agency, our parent company, the most successful ones, that's what it is. It is embedded in their culture. And so I would say once that, that's like door number one. Start there. Have to have
Yeah.
that done. And the second one, as you grow here, it's the other part we can do. We can help agencies. We can help find you citations and other places to link. But it's like, if your company gets involved in your community and you're part of events and you're there being visible, that's helping you on the front end just because you're brand and you're visible.
Right.
But there are rewards from that. So if you're getting links, those local community links and sponsorship links, I've been saying this for 15 years. I mean, it works. I mean, it
Work. Yeah.
works because Google sees those as signals. I mean, they want to serve up the biggest brand. And if they start to see a brand more involved and more local signals, they're going to reward you. So that's what I would say. It's the two-sided part. It's the technical side, and then the review, and then the just, brand building.
Absolutely. Are there any other like essential tactics outside of that for local SEO for service businesses that they should implement? But those are some pretty major ones and essential ones we kind of listed out there.
Yeah, those are the big. I mean, those are going to have the most impact, I would say. I mean,
Okay.
there's things like, you're going to want content on your site. You're going to want to send, make sure that, again, Google can understand what your site's about. There's the citations, like I mentioned, just things you may be involved in, directories and things that are maybe, more vertically specific to what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I would say those are the reviews, and then that local kind of event sponsorship are the big tactics they can do. And then outside of, I'm sorry, this is just a broad thing of like your Google business profile.
Yeah.
Making sure that's optimized. I mean, I'm almost saying that like it's a second nature here, but that's an important one there.
When you said content, does it matter like because some people don't have a fancy production studio or lighting and all of that. Does it
Yeah.
matter the quality as long as it's kind of decent, lighting, organic? What would you say about
Yeah.
that as far as the content you're putting on there?
I would say the content is more important than the messaging of it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing I've seen. The term we use is analysis paralysis. You can get
Yes.
so trapped in all
Yes.
those things you mentioned, the technical thing. Those are traps. Like, don't take out, if it's video content, take out your iPhone and shoot a video with something interesting in it. That's all you need there.
That
But it's
easy.
also, it really is. I mean, I've seen, before I tried to transition to the software, helping out clients. That's I hate to simplify it here, but it's like, shoot a short video. We're going to help promote it on all these channels because we know it's so expensive to like buy traditional media. Like, you're in a big market. Oh, I've seen the prices, like buying a week of radio, a week of TV is wild. So if you're a smaller brand, you can't afford that. So where can you find angles to get that content in front of people in a more, cost-effective way? So, the nuance in that, but like, don't get caught in the production part. Just produce the content. And then as far as the written content, it's just making sure that you mention where you are, like your office, making sure that's in the footer and verified, like your address is in there. That's so, especially in local SEO, having a verified address is extremely strong signal to Google. So if Google knows your office is located in a town, they're going to give you, it's like the
This is a
beacon
real
of where it
place.
is. Of course.
That's yeah. Just when you saying that actually just made me think of someone I know that recently started a business, and going over things like this is what they've been going through. And I said, just make it as easy as possible for people to find you, for people to review for you, to just make it, and you can make it as easy as possible. Like leave something in your signature line, a link in an email to your customer or for your text. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of like tactics. You were mentioning earlier about the algorithm, earlier Google algorithm, and that I've even noticed a lot of changes in
Oh
the
yeah.
algorithm, even as recently as with AI. So I kind of want to get your take on that and the algorithm, things that have changed to the benefit. Maybe are there any cons that you see, or do you just see a lot of improvements?
Yes and no. I'm it's like we're in the middle of it. So
Great. Yes.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, I think I want to see more tailored results. I want to maintain a balance between privacy and
Yes.
like being served the right things. It's a tricky balance that everyone has to play here for sure. But
Right.
um yeah, I mean the AI part, it hasn't fully come to local yet. Like I mean that's kind of the good thing. It's changing. Listen, if you're like the national SEO, buckle up. You're going to lose a lot of traffic and organic ranking. It's going down just because the landscape is changing, and Google continues to figure out how they can use their AI, use Gemini to better sort of like again present results. And I'm saying Google here. I know other search engines, other AI, so I'm just going to Google be the ubiquitous name for all all search
Right.
engines.
Right.
So I'm optimistic about that. I know they're literally as of today they're making announcements of how they're using AI to kind of better integrate. I would say the one thing I would just balance is like I love SEO. I mean, I think it's just like something you should have as part of a good, just balanced and robust kind of marketing campaign. But I do want to make sure it's like if you're listening and hear this, like it's if you get these done, you can get business and leads, but it's not going to be everything for you because Google is, they are printing money. I mean, they are a for-profit printing money. And if you've seen just over the years, just how paid ads have just continued to kind of expand. And even as
Yes.
local services have come in, which is, you know, a great way for contractors. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to that, to using that system. It's not as inexpensive as it once was, but it's still a positive ROI. But they're also testing things like I'm a very active Google user, and just a week ago I'm in there looking, and now I'm seeing where you can compare quotes. So it's not just in
Mhm.
Google local services where you can just call them. You can get in like an Angie's List or Yelp where you can ask for multiple quotes, and then it sends it out. So they're really trying to keep pushing the paid ads sort of section, and
Right.
for the betterment of everybody, because you can be more predictive with it. But my point is, it just has to be a balance. So it's like get this
Absolutely.
going, but also be sort of like prepared that the landscape will continue to modify. So that's a hard thing to tell a customer or a business where it's like, well,
Yes.
year over year and your last year results, take it with an asterisk
Um,
because the game has changed.
so is it for those businesses, like you said, some people are losing traffic like
Yep.
significantly since with a lot of these changes. Is it really fair, or is it just that's the name of the game? You've got to learn to adapt with it, kind of thing. And then on the flip side, what adjustments are needed for instance, for people start Googling you or looking you up, whatever search engine they're
Yep.
using, like what tactics do you need to stay on top of to stay on top, I guess?
I'm going to oversimplify here, but it is the branding. So when we were saying earlier that grocery store metaphor, like we are
Yes.
continuing to see that Google is using data. I mean,
Mhm.
this is maybe like, in fact, there's just like this bombshell report that came out this week where they kind of saw evidence of using Chrome click data basically to influence. So Google wants, I mean, not to be so broad about it, but it's like they want people looking for your brand. They want
Yeah.
people searching for your brand. And the more that they do, the more likely they are to show you. So again, this is like some technical side of like the local SEO and checking the box and filling out your profile and getting reviews and all those things. It's like it's like daily exercise. It's like, kind of do those things. And then outside of it, I hate to say it, but it's like a little bit of guerrilla marketing in a sense. It's like, how can you find in your market, how can you find a pocket? Do you have a relationship with a certain group or certain community or certain area? Can you get into them and get them, looking for your brand and doing promotions? I mean, it's not easy. I mean, I was just going to say, like, rewind a bunch of years ago, it was wild, wild west, and it was so much easier to influence. I could literally tell Google what to rank your site for, and they would rank your site for it.
Right.
Now Google is full. I mean, I hate to.
It's saturated.
It's so, like, again, that story I told where I could write an article, the next day it's already published.
Yeah.
We've had content for newer sites that aren't yet established. It takes a while for them to index. Like, even though we're sending in signals to index, like, there's, if there's 8 million articles about a service repair,
right?
Why would Google, like, we got it. We got the answer already.
We're covered.
We're covered. So that's, I hate to say it, but it's like, you need to, it's not as easy as it was. You can't just do a basic kind of go to market. You've got to, like, make sure you're adding something unique and interesting in there, and then just more. So when you said content, it's like, okay, if everyone in your market is competitive, if they've got good reviews, okay, great. Now you're equal. They've got a nice website. Now you're equal. What can you do that's better than them, more than them? So video content, more image content. So Google loves fresh images. So if you've got images of your work, get those online, tag those, make sure you're seeing those. So it's, again, more signals. So if everything's equal, these are things that you can do to differentiate your business and make you more, more attractive to Google.
That's such a, like, you make me think of my patterns as a consumer, because I'm like a big Yelper and reviewer, Google reviewer, and like I'll look at a business comparing. I just got my garage fixed, actually, and I'll look through the reviews first and then see who has pictures versus who doesn't have pictures. And it's like a whole checklist process as a consumer. So you're right. Like, that's the consumers, that those little bitty things that you can do to stand out. Easy pickings. Yeah.
So the other part in that, like, again, when it seems like I'm in the beta testing of Google, so I'll see changes on my results that not everybody is seeing. I'll show my colleagues, and they're like, that's not what mine looks like.
Gotcha.
We're seeing, like, enhanced. So that section in that map pack there, I mean, they've had images there, so it's not anything new, but I've seen in some searches I've done where it's really enhanced. So those companies, like, they've got a video in there that sort of, like, sells their company to consumers. Are looking at that. Just like you said, you're kind of choosing between a provider and using those different options. Like, if again, I'm on screen, I've got 3 different options, and one has great images where it looks, okay, these guys look trustworthy, they look professional, then I can gravitate to them. So again, that's a great way to differentiate, is like, you don't know that company. You're trying to choose a garage door provider. It's like, you don't know them. So how can I, as a company owner, brand, like, present myself to homeowners, to consumers, that is in a way that I want to be chosen? So it's like, again, it's weird. It's like, I know local SEO, there's these parts of it, but it's also zoom out the kind of marriage of branding and lead gen are really, coming closer together, because the better the branding, the better the SEO.
Absolutely. There you go, folks. All right, let's talk about mobile optimization, the impact on local SEO for service businesses. So especially with the on-the-go nature of services.
Well, I mean, think about, again, we talked about the physical space of a mobile phone. We've seen the traffic patterns. Listen, there's a lot of people that are still going to their desktop. They get to work on a Monday morning, and research companies as well. But the trend continues to just be, mobile just keeps going up. I mean, again, back to like a checklist thing, there's things to make sure, like, your website is mobile optimized and mobile friendly, and those kind of things. I would say the other part is just recognizing that consumers want choice. So when you're going to contact a company, it's like, you open the phone, you open their website, it's like, you want to make it easy, like, make the hurdles gone. So, like, easier way to click to call and contact them, or a chat, or a form, or just giving consumers different options. I would say that's a kind of an important world in just the mobile first world. And the other one is just how everything looks on the phone. So it's like, imagine that, whatever that need, a garage door, HVAC, plumbing, whatever the lawn care, any of those service needs here. It's like, think about just putting yourself in that, the mind of the consumer. It's like, what are they most looking for? How are they going to, most judge your company? So getting all those things like social proof and all those things high up on your website.
Yes.
Because again, you've got seconds to make an impression here. So good design, easy ways to contact you, and then getting all your value sort of like up on the top of the site.
Absolutely. And speaking of social proof, can we speak of the importance of that a little bit, or just in general, how can service businesses effectively use, again, testimonials, customer reviews, whatever, as part of their local SEO strategy?
Well, everybody is looking for them. I mean, everybody is using them. I mean, every year, it's a great company called Bright Local. They do this survey, and it's about how consumers use reviews and how often they're looking for them and how deep they go. And it just gets more robust every year. Like, consumers are more discerning because we have more options. We want to make sure we're choosing the best one. So using social proof, it's like one thing, like we said, just the culture of gaining reviews. But it's also how you respond to those reviews, how you present your brand there is huge there. So it's like, that's the level. So if you saw two companies, both around the same number of views, same average reviews, then you go a layer deeper. How are they responding to their customers here? Like a bad review, how do you respond? Does it make you look worse or make you look like, because I've seen that where it's, people get emotional.
They do.
Bad review, very emotional. But I'm like, that only is making the situation worse, because nobody is going to have perfect experiences. You can't please everybody, but it's how you handle and mitigate that. It says a lot about your brand. So I think that's the other part of social proof, is like how you the reviews, how you respond to them. And if you can get advanced, not everybody does this, but I know the bigger companies, like video testimonials. I love video testimonials because, again, I don't know your company. You're telling me you've got great customer service. Okay. You're family owned and operated. Yeah. Everybody is. So it's like, but seeing video and seeing those things makes it real, makes your brand human, makes your company human. So when you also have human customers up there sharing their experiences, again, it's just an extra trust signal in a sense here. So it's proof and then trust. Again, easier said than done to collect video testimonials. I know that's an effort there.
And even for us, sometimes, people are busy. I get it. People are busy, and then but I liked how you mentioned the response to reviews and negative, even responding to your negative reviews. And I know there's a fine line there with going back and forth, especially with a disgruntled client. But it is kind of impressive to see someone take ownership when a business does respond, or try to make right or whatever. So I just wanted to make note of that too for our viewers.
In this case, I would say AI is a good solution here.
Okay.
I would say this is, if you have not started using AI, I think you should start with that part.
Really?
There's plenty of tools that have the responses. What I saw the data coming out, which it's not shocking per se, but it also just sort of like, when bigger enterprise started adopting, lots of AI models and lots of AI tools in the market right now that are built for customer service agents and all sorts of things. But when the bigger brands started testing them and doing their pilots and saw that humans like the AI responses more than the human responses, because humans, we are emotional. It's hard to control that. AI is controlled, and it's more, they said the responses were more empathetic coming from AI. So it's like, if you're a business owner and if it's just you running the show and you doing everything there, and when someone writes something bad, you've had a long day, it's human. You're going to want to oh yeah? But if the AI just does, it kind of removes that risk, removes that emotional risk, and then you can just train it to just, again, make sure that people reading it just say, okay, bad experience, we're going to take this offline, we're going to make this right. And then it sort of just negates that bad review. It's sort of so they can move on to the next one. So I think, again, AI response is a good solution for that.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. I like that. Yeah, we were speaking on another podcast about similar about AI and whenever someone's calling in, you have a representative on hold. So how they have AI speaking to the people
Yeah.
while they're holding for a live agent, and kind of similar how so that's interesting data coming out how consumers like interacting with AI. So yeah,
I'm telling you, it's getting harder to tell. When we first started getting those
it,
demos,
it
you know,
is.
even a year or two ago, you'd start to hear like, oh, it sounds a little robotic. And then they started matching the
Yeah.
little mimics of the human voice and the uhs and the breaks and things. And then
Yes.
we've gotten demos recently where I was like, ooh, I cannot tell. And then it's like,
Yes.
do I want to be another sort of interesting thing that's going to raise is the sort of AI ethics of this. Like if you're on hold, do you need to know if it's an AI or a human? Do you want
Mm,
to know if it's an AI or a human?
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good. Well, speaking of, and this might be sidetracking a little, but I'm staying in the region of digital and marketing SEO with AI. Do you think we know regulation may need probably a thing needs to happen.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as AI comes in with SEO or marketing, do we need to have like little disclaimers saying, hey, AI generated content, AI or AI, just so people can distinguish what they're reading
Yeah.
and
We may. I
yes,
don't know
yeah,
the answer to that yet
okay,
because
okay,
I know as you like, you know, you upload to YouTube, they're asking you, has this been altered in any way? So they're starting to kind of ask that. With content, it's tricky because
yeah,
I'm again back to the experimentation. We're doing that the parent company of just we've got human content, fully AI content, hybrid content, putting that out there and seeing how search engines react to it, how humans react
absolutely,
to it. So it's an interesting. Again, we're right in the middle of all of this.
yeah,
Um, I don't know about the disclaimer, except for maybe the when I'm talking to somebody, I might want to
yeah,
know that.
yeah,
It
yeah,
might be it might cause a frustration if I don't know that at the end, because it has some risk. Like if you're just trying to if you're in a situation where lots of HVAC, so I'm thinking in the mind of like someone's home is really hot or cold,
yeah,
you just want that fixed. And so imagine you're talking to somebody and then realize like they glitch or something and it's AI. That might turn into a negative emotion about your brand. So
yeah,
it's I don't know the answer to that. It's tricky at the moment, but I would in my mind I would always err on like saying this message may be recorded for quality
yeah,
control issues, like just making sure they
absolutely.
you know a little heads up.
It's fair, it's fair. I want to switch over to common mistakes that service businesses, field service businesses might make with SEO. So can you speak on any mistakes you've seen and how to avoid them?
Yeah, I would say a mistake is just not doing it. Like
Ah,
I've had some
really?
companies where they just will get them set up and they're not they don't engage with again the reviews and they don't engage with the building, and then the business isn't growing, the leads aren't coming, and it's like, well, there's a direct causation between your efforts and the results of which I'm trying to help you do. So I would say the biggest mistake is just not doing it. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
those are simple things here. We talk about like things you can do just in that process of you're finishing the service call. How is what's the process of asking for a review? Or if it's a bad call, what is the process of like making sure you're sort of mitigating that before that customer has a chance to go vent online as soon as you leave the house. So I would say it's those. It's just ignoring the sort of like blocking and tackling, so to speak, the basics of just running having a digital presence. Um, that, and I would just say, sorry, the second one is maybe just too much. Like
mm,
I've had aggressive, like when you're starting, imagine this is Google is looking at an algorithm. So excuse me, they're using basically tools to realize like, okay, how many reviews have they gotten, how fast, how many links have they gotten, how fast, relative to how many searches they've done. So
yeah,
I've seen some companies want to be like they're aggressive. They want to grow, and we can kind of define the parameters of like you're going to be out of bounds if you do that. But some are just go go go, and then Google kind of pushes them back a little bit. So I would say other mistake is like trying to over-engineer your results. You can use tactics and things to get ahead of your competition, but if you go too fast and push too far, it's not a good business to build off of that, because it's like a house of cards will just come running
Would
down.
you say like the use of bots, like especially in reviews? Because when I think there's some ways to use that in a clever way, but then I've seen some instances with businesses where it's so obvious uh in the reviews that, oh, that's a bot.
Oh yeah.
So like,
I you know I want to have I again I want to assume, like, we have a term, it's like assume positive intent, we like to say at the company
absolutely,
here. And
absolutely.
I like to think that even though you could go look, it's amazing that you can go to Google and search for buy reviews, and there's
Yeah.
options right now to like go buy fake reviews, and it's a very complicated system. I want to say I really believe those Amazon reviews were real for a while. I really did. I was like, look, there's pictures. They're leaving
Yeah.
videos, and then you realize they're not. But the good part is, I think they catch those. Like Google
I do,
will,
yeah.
they'll catch like you can only do it for so long. Like
Yes.
they will get caught, they will get removed, the pattern will be exposed, and then again, say you built your business on some of those like fault. I mean, I think it's rare to buy reviews and bots like that and mass scale, but the ones that say they do, what if it's successful? Now you've built up
Mm,
your business, and then
mm,
you start hiring people to scale, and then oops, that part you get caught, or the
right,
bots get caught, and then it's like you're back down to earth, and now you've got these people on your team that you don't have enough work for. So,
right.
maybe that's idealistic or optimistic there, but I just think like those kind of things, those shortcuts, they don't last forever.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. All right. I want to ask about a little bit more about Servicely and the tools and resources that you offer to
Yeah.
help HVAC or HVAC companies specifically to improve their local SEO performance.
Sure. So ours is, again, it's a starter pack. It's really affordable compared to any of the agencies. So what we do is, the first one is just it's a website builder. So instead of the drag and drop, we've narrowed it down to a series of questions about services and service area and products you sell. You answer those questions, put in your business information, choose from some design options so it makes it easy for you, just like a theme, and publish. And so now you have control over that site. It's DIY. We can help you, but it's DIY. So if you want to go change an offer, you can just log in and change. You don't have to wait for anybody or an agency to kind of run through all the people it has to go to do that. So that's the first one, is like we're getting your website up that day, really. So if you have no website domain, you can go through our steps, choose a site, and then like in 30 minutes, now you have a website. So it's
Nice.
like now you're started. So once that website is produced, we list you in basically like these premium local business directories we have. So all those signals, Yelp is a good one. So if you don't have a Yelp, we help create a Yelp instance for you. Other signals, again, is just from, again, citations that Google can scan and index and realize like, okay, here's a new business. We're going to give it a little bit more visibility. And then we also help with the Google Business Profile. Some have it, so we just go and help optimize and add some more categories and kind of help them there. Or if not, we also just help them get started. And I would just say, if you're a new business listening, it has gotten harder. Like Google wants to be, they want to do more verifications. So like video verifications have become a thing in the last couple of years, where they really want you to prove that you're a real business before you get live.
Yes.
And that's hard. I mean, I still have some clients in the state of like trying to help them get through that step to get their business fully verified there. So I think it's those three things here. It's like the site, the principles of digital local presence here, of like the site, some listings, and then that Google Business Profile is like, that's our help you get started and improving in your market.
Awesome. And we talked about a little bit about that too with the my Google business page. So this plays an important part for SEO for service companies.
Yeah.
Any extra things that businesses should be doing to optimize their listing? We've spoken about a plethora of things, but any other things?
I would say not everything in there. Like I've seen people do all sorts of, if you go around town and take pictures at this Latin longitude, it's going to send a signal. That's been
No?
disproven.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I hate just again, those are tricks. Those aren't going to work
Yeah.
there. So I would say it's a checklist. Like fill it out. Like
Fiscal
all your
approval.
applicable categories. I've seen that miss where it's like if you're an HVAC contractor, sometimes you just have HVAC contractor. But
Right.
there's also air conditioning repair and furnace repair and heating repair and all the other
Absolutely.
ones. So making sure Google is aware that you do all of these things. Filling
Absolutely.
out your description, filling out everything. I would say like the bells and whistles of your Google business profile don't have a big causation of like your visibility, the posts and offers and things like that. They don't. Q&A has some value there. And the other one is just it's a match. So it's like you want to make sure there's content on your site that matches your industry. Now you can have this is if you've been around for a long time and you get enough of these other signals. I've seen sites do well in local SEO where they don't have much content on their site, but they took a long time to build that up. Like for a
Right.
regular company, you want to make sure it's like, again, you have mentions of what you do, both on your Google profile and on your website, and then also like the areas you service have that mentioned on your site as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Thank you.
All right. I think I just got one more question for you here, and it's about how do we measure our success as a service business or field service? Like, how do companies measure the success of their local SEO versus their traditional SEO?
Okay. Some nuance in this because I know the traditional one. Again, when you've been doing this for a long time, business owners they've got so many things going on. They just don't have time for the nuance and all these graphs. And like, I know keyword rankings has been like that's what people want. I really try to get people away from that. I mean, yes, it's not saying there's no value to it. I mean, there is. You can see the fluctuation, but it's like checking your 401k balance every couple of days. It's like, that's not really the best use of your time here. I think the
Right.
better one for local SEO, again, take this with a little asterisk here because previously it's different measurement. So the way Google has changed in the last couple of years from moving to GA4, the way their methodology, even in your Google business profile, how they capture views and calls, it's different. But I think that's the source. It's like going into your Google business profile and you can see how many views, how many interactions, how many calls, did you get from that direct source? I think is a good one. It's not going to tell the whole story because I could be searching for, you said garage, and see some listings and then just call a number from there, not necessarily directly interact with it. But I think it's a good marker that enough of those consumers are going to be, interacting with your profile and taking action from. So I think that's the way to measure is looking in your Google business profile, and then just looking for other growth indicators like this is what you're focused on. Are your leads growing? Are other things growing? But traffic is just tricky here because I've seen like where is that source coming from? Like most people just report on traffic, and that can be out of state traffic, out of market traffic, out of the country traffic from people looking. So it's like without digging in deeper, I think can be misleading. It's just like traffic. You want to look at actual metrics from the tools and the Google business profile that are leading to business.
That's awesome. Is that something Servicely can also help with as far as helping those businesses break down those metrics and like use them as KPIs for building in their strategies with growth in their
I mean, we
business?
do integrate Google into their profile so they can just see some metrics like that, and I send them like what's happening in their Google business profile. So I'm sort of trying to keep track of that. And I know it's like in this industry in home services, it's so seasonal. So it's like that's the
Exactly.
other part you have to kind of qualify. It's like, well, you are right in the shoulder season now, so we expect a sort of lower amount of interaction here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. This was great. Seriously, thank you for being a guest on the Profit Roadmap podcast. And if our listeners want to learn more about you and Servicely, where can they find you?
I would say just go to service.ly. I mean, that is our site. You can see everything about it there. Contact us, schedule a demo, whatever you like from there is, service.ly. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. And thank you, our listeners.
Thanks so much.